you, what up? Welcome to my channel or welcome back. I'm Maryam. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the new Look of Love collection from Charlotte Tilbury, which includes the Pretty Blushed Full Face Palette with some eyeshadows, a bronzer, a highlight, a blush, and an Airbrush Flawless Finish powder. So I'm going to be comparing the powder inside of this palette to the original Airbrush Flawless Finish powder just to make sure that all the formulations are the same. I'm also going to be conducting some lip swatches of the lipsticks in this collection, as well as the Tinted Love lip and cheek stains on both the cheeks and on the lips. So expect a full, thorough review as always, an application on the face to create this look that you see here, and of course the verdict at the end, Team Truth style as always and per usual. With that said, remember to subscribe if you aren't already, hit that notification bell so you can see all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now let's get into this video. Charlotte Tilbury Look of Love collection, the palette, the lipsticks, the lip and cheek tints. Let's go. Hello from my little friend. Hi. Let's jump right into this, shall we? So we've got a bunch of products from Charlotte Tilbury's new collection. This is called the Look of Love. There's two palettes, but I have one of the two palettes. This one is the Pretty Blushed palette, so the lighter version of the two. In this palette, we have 3 eye shades, a bronzer, a highlighter, a cheek pop color, and also a powder. Now this is actually the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, just in a much smaller pan. So I am going to test those two against each other just to see if there's a difference. Because I feel like sometimes really good formulations panned or pressed into a much smaller size just somehow change. They're just not the same. So I'm really curious about this one. This is a $75 palette as per Charlotte T. Those are her prices. That's what she charges. And looking at this palette, I don't know, that's kind of a lot for me and for my liking, but I get it. This is supposed to be a full face in a palette type of situation, so we will put this to use. Next in this collection, we have 4 lipsticks, 3 Matte Revolution formula lipsticks, so the matte ones, and 1 Kissing lipstick, which is more like a satin shiny finish. So I'm gonna swatch all of those as well. These are $37 each. I feel like that's really pricey. Next, we also have the Tinted Love Lip and Cheek Tints. I think there are 6 or 7 shades altogether, but I have 3 here. Now these are $34 each. Also on the pricey side, I don't know. I'm kind of just like wowed by these numbers. Wow. Is it gonna be worth it? I don't know. So let's just start with the obvious. Let's start with the swatches. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the Tinted Love shades first on both my lips and on my cheeks, starting with the shade Santa Euphoria. All right, let's try it. First on the cheek. Kind of lovely. A bit more color than that Maybelline Cheek Heat. Thank God. Very natural. Gel-like formulation, but I'm not sure if this is enough for me to want to spend $34 on. Let's swatch on the lips. Okay, I definitely see it on the lips. I think it's nice. I get it. There is a reason to wear something like this on a daily basis. It just feels comfortable on the lips. Feels like a tint. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything at all, but yet somehow it dresses up your lips and it just makes them look a little bit better. Okay. This is kind of nice. On my lips, I'm already wearing Pillow Talk, the original pencil, just to outline and to give my lips a bit more of a frame. And I'll reline real quick too. I still find that this is the best shade for me if I want to overline my lips and make them look fuller and like not such an obvious outline. I just feel like this shade is the best for that, for someone like myself. Okay, so while that cheek dries, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the next shade, which is Blushed Rose. Ooh, this is a very, very delicate and gentle shade that I think looks really lovely on the bare skin. Do you agree? I feel like this is just like very, very natural, but very pretty and very believable. I like this one. Okay, on the lips now. I see it. Sometimes when things are very pricey, I almost like don't want to like them. There are a few exceptions, of course. Like Natasha Denona eyeshadows are an exception. Pat McGrath eyeshadows are an exception. But with products like cheek and lip tints, they have to be exceptional in order for me to justify that price. In this case, I like it a lot. I'm not gonna say it's exceptional, but it's up there. It feels really, really comfortable on the lips. All right, and for the last shade, I'm gonna test it out on this cheek since it's clean. This one is called Love Chain. Ooh, this is stunning. This is like a more coral version of the Benefit Benetint. And I think it's also a lot more pigmented than the previous two colors that I tried. This is a stunning shade. I quite like. A little hard to blend out this one. So maybe you gotta be quick with it because it is a tint and kind of like a stain as well. But anyway, here it is on the lips. This is quite lovely, actually. Obviously, this would probably look better with a matching lip liner or without any lip liner at all, but you get the idea. Stunning. Yeah, this one definitely has a lot more staying power. I'm finding that it's a lot harder to remove than the previous two, but with a tint of that shade, it almost has to be more of a stain than the other two, because you want that pigmentation, you want that saturated color to last, even if it's supposed to look natural. Okay, am I gonna be able to remove it from my cheek though? That is the question. Anyway, what I'm gonna do now is apply my face base before swatching the lipsticks on my lips and before getting to the rest of my face with the palette. So for my face base today, I'm just gonna go really easy and quick. I'm gonna use my Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream that I've been loving. This one has broad spectrum SPF, and it's a 3-in-1 product, meaning it's a primer, SPF, and also a tint in one. I like that with this one, you really don't need a lot of product, or you can go heavier if you want more coverage, but it's just a beautiful formula that I've been loving so much. I know the coverage on this product is very sheer, but if you stipple it the way that I just did on my nose, you can even hide some big breakouts. So it's a very, very flexible formula that you can easily double up wherever you need it for a little bit more coverage, but obviously not to full coverage. All right, so that is my face base. Quickly, I'm gonna use my Fenty Beauty Bright Fix for the under eye, another product that I've been loving and reaching for a lot lately. Now, this is a product that I absolutely love applying with my fingers and no other way. I find that the finger really distributes it and makes it look the most natural, easy peasy. So now I'm just gonna quickly set my under eye. I have this Huda Beauty Pound Cake little mini version of the powder. I'm not a huge fan of this one, gotta be honest, but it's the one that I have handy and I'm gonna have to make it work. I'm just using it for the under eye today, but specifically I didn't love it over my pores, so we shall be avoiding that area with this powder. The shade that I'm using is Pound Cake. I believe that is like the light translucent one. Also, it's so freaking scented. Moving right along to the palette real quick. So what I'm gonna do first is actually compare this face powder to the Airbrush Flawless Finish. I have 3 shades here in my arsenal, the 1, 2, and 3. So I'm wondering what shade this actually is. On the website, it says that the Pretty Blush palette contains a fair medium shade. So I'm not sure whether that means it's a 1, a 2, or a 3. Let's test it. It looks like a 2 from here, but I don't know. Definitely feels like the Airbrush Flawless Finish. All right, so I'm gonna grab shade 2. Boom, I'm gonna swatch that next to it. And looks like it's a match. Looks like it is the identical shade. So now we know. And just to show you comparisons, this is the 1, much, much lighter, significantly lighter. And here's the shade 3, which by the way, does not feel as silky. All right, so I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Powder and Sculpt brush. I'm gonna use this face powder to set my face. Now that we know that this is shade 2, I'm gonna use it as such. I always thought that this particular brush was just a little too small for my giant face. I need something a lot bigger, something like this. For my giant face, this brush is something that I like to use for the under eye only, but it is a nice brush. Man, this powder is absolutely the best though. It's one of those powders that I not only receive in PR, I also continuously purchase it because I go through it so quickly. It's just like my go-to. It has always been my go-to. And the fact that they have it in this palette is actually something that those of us who travel a lot, or at least want to start traveling a lot again, but those people, those of us will find it useful. Because this might just be a really good throw in your weekend bag, getaway type of palette, that one and done. All right, so now that the face is kind of set, I'm gonna test out the bronzer, I'm gonna test the face highlight and the cheek pop. I'm gonna use this Carly Bible X Il Maquillage brush. This one's new, nice little angled fluffy brush. I'm gonna use that for the face bronzer because this brush is pretty narrow so it can pick it up. So this is the bronzer from Charlotte's Film Star Bronze and Glow palettes. You know, those duo palettes that contain the highlighter and the bronzer. So it's a very, very light sculpting powder. I wouldn't say that it's similar to the Airbrush Flawless bronzer. That's just a different formulation and a different product altogether. But this one I would say is more of a sculpting rather than bronzing type of bronzer that I really like. I feel like it's showing up really beautifully, really lovely. I'm into it. All right, so I'm gonna add a bit to the cheekbone area, just lifting it and connecting with the forehead. I gotta say, this is a really lovely brush. I've forgotten how much I actually like this bronzing powder. This is a really good sculpting powder for someone like myself who doesn't like to contour. Why? Because it's subtle, it's buildable, it looks very natural, it's not too orange, and it's also not too gray, so it doesn't look too much like a shadow. It's just like the perfect balance of everything, but it's light enough, not just in color, but also in texture, for someone like myself to just give me a very subtle sculpt, not contour. My face is one of those faces that doesn't really benefit from contouring too much. I feel like when that trend was really popping, that's when I was heavily doing it. And although it looked nice on photos, I felt like in person it was making my face a little too strong, a little too masculine in the jaw, just like a little too angular, you know? And I think for someone like me, it's better to soften those angles, you know? But that's just the way that I see myself. Obviously, everyone's different. Let's reach for that cheek pop color, which is very, very small, and it's really hard to grab with a big blush brush. This one's also from Carly's collab with Il Maquillage. As you can see, the Tinted Love cheek and lip tint is still quite visible from underneath my skin tint and also underneath the powder. That's something to keep in mind. That shade, Love Chain, was potent, to say the least. Ooh, but I will say this cheek pop is pretty poppin' too. It has just a little bit of luminosity. It has a really beautiful pinky coral shift that I'm personally very much drawn to. I'm into these types of shades. The only thing is this is just a little too small to be picked up. This is literally the size of one of the eyeshadows. In my mind, I'm thinking I would eliminate one of these eyeshadows and place the highlighter there instead and make the blush just a little bit longer so that there's a little bit more room to pick up the blush. Okay, so that is the face. Let's give you guys a quick close-up. I really want you to see how luminous and pretty this blush is up close. It has just such a lovely shift and just such a pretty luminosity. I don't know if you can catch that, but I love it. It is very dainty. Found a brush small enough to pick up this highlighter. Go right in there and let's see. Yes. Oh gosh, you guys. This highlighter is breathtaking. It's so pretty. I've always been a fan of Charlotte's highlighters. I believe this is the Film Star Bronze and Glow formulation from that palette, and it absolutely does not disappoint. It's not powdery, it's not chalky, it's not glittery. It's that perfect quintessential glow from within. Just so finely milled. Oh, I love it. I'm even gonna add some on the bridge of my nose to offset my friend over here. Add some on my forehead. So nice. Let's set that down for a sec. Let's do some lip swatches. I'm gonna start with the Kissing lipstick first, and this one is in the shade Nude Romance. I am absolutely obsessed with the packaging, and not just the packaging of the lipstick, but even like the outer packaging. I love the fact that it kind of comes out like a present. It just feels special. The lipstick bullet itself is all bejeweled and just so pretty. I mean, I get it. This is nice. So this is the shade Nude Romance, and let's test it out. Now remember, I could not remove that stain with a makeup wipe, but the shade is pigmented enough that it covers it. This is a stunning shade. Absolutely stunning in my book. So now this nude is like peachy nude. It has a little bit of that ochre, a little bit of that tan undertone. So it will look amazing on medium to tan skin tones, also light skin tones, but on someone medium like me, it's just a very natural, everyday kind of nude that I can wear with a cat eye, with a smoky eye, with no eye at all, with just mascara, but it gives you that sense of being well put together for some reason. I am a huge fan. I love this one a lot. And it feels very comfortable on the lips, not too sticky, just nourishing. Ugh, I love it. All right, I'm gonna reline real quick. And next up, let's go for Mrs. Kisses. So now, Mrs. Kisses is a Matte Revolution lipstick, same bejeweled case. Let's try it. Again, so lovely. So Mrs. Kisses is kind of like the matte version of Nude Romance kissing lipstick. It has just a little bit more rosiness, not as tan or as peachy nude, just like a pinch more neutral, but still on that warmer side. I love this one a lot. Very sophisticated, just easy, everyday, but a complex shade that won't make you feel like everyone else is wearing the same lipstick. Mrs. Kisses. Next up, we have Wedding Bells, and this one's gonna be your cooler, rosier nude. I'm gonna add a bit more of my Pillow Talk lip liner just to perfect the swatch. And I gotta say, it's another shade that I really, really love and would totally wear. It looks very pretty, very clean, just like a really pinky neutral nude that would look good on a lot of different skin tones, and it would work for a multitude of makeup looks. I like it a lot. $37 for a tube of lipstick, I know. My lips are quite flushed at the moment. Last one is First Dance. Come on, why is it so hard to pop out these lipsticks? I don't want to ruin the packaging. Okay, First Dance. Wow, that looks like a berry tone to me. I'm gonna use Pillow Talk Medium Shade 2 to perfect the shape. Okay, don't use Pillow Talk Medium 2 to perfect the shape for this lipstick. They don't match at all. I'm just gonna leave it as is. So now this is a color that I could probably personally do without. I don't typically reach for colors like this, but it is a very beautiful color nonetheless. I feel like it's very skin perfecting. It's another one of those really clean colors that makes the rest of your skin and also your teeth look super, super clean and bright. And there you go, First Dance. All right, gonna clean up my mouth area after the swatches, reline my lips. All right, and now moving on to the eyes. So for the eyes, I'm gonna add just a little bit of my Fenty Beauty eyeshadow primer, if I can find it. Just a little bit. So now my thoughts on Charlotte's eyeshadows are the following. I like them, but not enough to put them in the same category as Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath. And I feel like Natasha and Pat are different enough that they can both exist and both charge the prices that they do for their eyeshadows. Natasha has more popping colors, just brighter textures, whereas Pat is more focused on really luxurious finishes while also having great mattes, also great shimmers and great colors. But like if I wanted a pop of color, I would go for a Natasha shadow. And if I wanted like a smoky, really sexy, really sophisticated, ethereal type of eye, I would go for Pat's. If I wanted something more artistic, I would go for Natasha's. If I wanted something wearable but stunning, I would go for Pat's. So why did I start talking about that? Because we're getting into the eyeshadow category for Charlotte. And in this palette, we have 3 options for eyeshadows. Basically, it says a brighten, an enhance, and a smoke. So these are the only options. So I'm gonna have to create a look with these 3 options. I'm gonna start off with first the smoke color, which looks like brownie taupe shade, and I'm gonna add that to the entire lash line using this Sephora pencil brush, or rather smoky liner brush. Literally gonna add that to my entire movable lid, almost to the crease, like that, and just wing it out a pinch. And I'm also gonna lift this area to compensate for my hood, and then just continue kind of smoking it out like that. I'm gonna quickly just blur that out, and then also add just a little bit of that to my lower lash line, just to kind of lift that in a sense. Quality of this eyeshadow is okay. I'm not gonna say it's the best because there is some fallout, and also I find that it's not too pigmented, or it's not pigmented enough for an actual smoky shadow. I don't know, just not my favorite, this one. I'm gonna dip into the second shade. This one's Enhance, and just add that all over on top of my lid. This is another one of those shades that you've seen 100 times. That is nice. It's a nice taupey, shimmery shade. It's not too shimmery that you can't wear it for daytime, but it is a little boring. I get what she's trying to do here, but honestly, for an everyday palette look, if I were to use the same shades from one single palette, I probably won't need to use 3 eyeshadows. You know, 2 is enough, 1 is enough. Like the sculpting bronzer in this palette could absolutely be the smoky shadow, but so far, I like my look. All right, let's go for this eye brightener. Gonna reach for this Laura Lee Los Angeles L16 brush, dipping into the eye brighten shade. This one's very soft, very sparkly. Bit of sparkle fallout here, as to be expected. Very pretty shade. We've seen it before. Do we really need it is the question. But it does have kind of like a pretty wet looking sparkle. I'm actually gonna dip my finger into the shade. That's what it looks like. And I'm gonna add that directly to the center for that nice necessary pop. This is a pretty shade. Okay, I get it. I get it. But do we need the sparkly shade and the highlighter? Do we need them both? I wish I could reconfigure this palette. I wish I could make the cheek shade the size of the bronze and powder shade, like this big. And then I guess I would do the same thing with the highlighter and place it this way, eliminating 2 of these eyeshadows. And I guess out of the 3 of those, I would keep the sparkly one because it's just like the most interesting one and it's the most different from everything else. But my thoughts are that for $75, I get it that you want to create a full face look, but I'm wondering if this palette is sufficient enough for a full face look. Unless it's a very minimal look, which then means you don't need 3 eyeshadows. You can just get away with 1 and make the blush and highlighter pans bigger. Just throwing that out there. Moving right along. I'm gonna actually wet this brush real quick. I'm gonna spray this with some Fix Plus and I'm gonna dip into the smoky shadow. I'm gonna see if I can use this wet to create an actual precise liner. Okay, you can do that, I guess, but there's still some fallout with this shade. And also, I guess the shade isn't dark enough to be an eyeliner. So yeah, we could probably tell I'm not all the way satisfied. All right, I'm gonna finish off the eyes in a sec. Now I need to find an actual lip color for this look. I'm thinking, let's go very everyday and wearable. So I'm gonna go for the shade Nude Romance or Wedding Bells. I'm gonna go for Wedding Bells, just because Nude Romance is what I would typically reach for, but Wedding Bells was really, really pretty. And I feel like it matches Pillow Talk lip liner the best. Cute. All right, I'm gonna finish off my eye look by curling my lashes. And by adding that Maybelline Sky High Mascara that I'm still testing out. I wanted to test it out with kind of a barely there neutral eyeshadow look. So this one is perfect for it. All right, so this is the look using Charlotte T Instant Look of Love in a palette in Pretty Blushed Beauty. And also Wedding Bells on the lips. How do we like it? Wearable, neutral, everyday, cute, girly, sweet, romantical, all those things, some of those things, all of the above of those things. I don't know. Overall, I like my look. I feel like it's very pretty, very well put together, just effortless. Great for every day or great for an event for someone who doesn't really like to wear too much makeup, but this is probably dramatic for someone who is a minimalist, which is currently like me right now at the moment. I'm sort of a makeup minimalist lately just because of the situation that we've been in for the last year and a half. But let's get into this verdict on all of these products. I will say off the bat, the star player of this whole collection is definitely the $37 lipstick. Matte Revolution or Kissing. I love the formulations and the colors are just absolutely stunning. I love these colors. I want more and I just feel like they're perfect. There's really nothing wrong with them. I love the undertones. I love how clean the colors are, how they brighten and perfect the complexion, the teeth, and just the packaging is amazing. I wanted to hate it. I didn't want to love it as much as I do, but here I am. Now the Tinted Love lip and cheek tint, also kind of pricey for $34 for just such a small tube of product, but the product itself is really nice and there's definitely a place for it. The fact that you could use it on both your lips and also your cheeks is a plus, so there's that. Now, the palette on the other hand, although it contains really nice, great quality face products, such as the bronzer, the highlighter, the cheek blush, and the powder, I will say the shadows are pretty mediocre. I have seen better quality from Charlotte herself, from the brand that is. These really didn't impress me much. So do I think this is a bit overpriced? Yeah, I kind of do, because I wouldn't necessarily reach for this every day. And if I were to take this with me on a weekend getaway, I probably wouldn't use all of those eyeshadows. Let's just be real. So those are my thoughts. Those are my final 2 cents and my verdict. I hope you guys are here for it as I am. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing. I am going to zoom on out so that you can click on my next 2 videos right here. Do it. Peace.